Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. This series, I am once again joined by my wonderful co-host, That Darn Kitty.
Dorkus and I are sharing our experience reading Words of Radiance for the first time. Each episode we will discuss the chapter and share our experience along the way.
This is Storming the Archives, Words of Radiance, and today we discuss Chapter 17.
Chapter 17!
Chapter 17! Wow, I was expecting you to do it again, and then I was going to keep pushing it to see how far you were willing to go, and you didn't even do it a second time.
I was thinking of saying the name of the chapter, A Pattern!
A pattern! The thing I wanted to talk about, and I guess it could be talked about a bit later, but I want to talk about it now, so we're going to talk about it now.
Mm-hmm.
On the topic of pattern, basically saying, you're gonna kill us. I really lived in the theme of redemption in this book, and in a small way of Kings as well. There's that Javert-like figure in the interludes who killed the cobbler, and we had asked the question of, can men be redeemed? And I didn't realize at the time just how much that concept plays in the rest of this book, because in that last chapter, I made the prediction that Amaram will be redeemed or seek redemption. And it seems like whatever this relationship is between men and Spren, this bond, if they're coming back, a big part of it will be, can men redeem themselves? And there's also the whole people gave up their oaths, like they put it aside. Can you come back from that? And I don't feel like a failure is necessarily unforgivable. I'm a fairly unforgiving person, but in terms of like, yeah, I signed up for this. It's not quite what I thought it would be like, and I've lost my passion for it. I cannot do it. And it's not fair or reasonable to expect people to live up to the perfect ideal 100% of the time. I really want to know what happens if Kaladin commits a dishonorable act, how that will affect the bond. Will Syl stick around and be like, you can be better than this, I know you can? Because it's all well and good for her to try to encourage Kaladin and pull him out of his depression. But the real test of friendship will be when he fails to live up to his own personal code, and whether or not he seeks redemption, or anyone does, and whether or not Syl will try to pull that out of him. Yeah,
that is a huge question. Like, is it going to be this sort of binary way of seeing it? It's either honorable, entirely honorable, or dishonorable. There is a lot more to humans than that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that comes with going against your own code. If you're happy about it, then yeah, there's very little chance of redemption. If you don't care about it, there's little chance of redemption. But if you feel that you've done wrong, that you've gone against your values and that sort of thing, there's hope for you. But how would the Spren see that?
Right. And if humanity failed when the Knights Radiant fell and when the Heralds fell, can people come back from that? I feel like that's a repeat of what I've just said, but I'm trying to get to something different.
Mm-hmm.
If Spren died because of that betrayal, no, it's gone, but that's fine. Those were all things that popped into my head. I know there were other instances. It'll be a big thing with Shallan if she killed her mother, we think. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then later, possibly father. It's big in this chapter with Bluth and the picture.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
When you brought up the whole the theme of redemption, I thought of Bluth immediately.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the big thing I'll be looking for throughout this entire book from this point on, is areas in which redemption is present, the topic of.
Mm-hmm.
Anything to say on that, Kitty, before we get on to the chapter?
No, let's get into it.
All right. Dull form dread with the mind most lost, the lowest and one not bright. To find this form one need banish the cost, it finds you and brings you to blight. from the listener song of listing, final stanza.
Seems significant that it's the final stanza.
Yes, I underlined final, and I went back and looked at the previous chapter, and I think it was the 27th stanza. I didn't take time to go look. 19th stanza, 5th stanza.
They weren't in order.
15th. Okay, so it looks like 19th is the largest number of stanza that we get. So we don't officially know how many stanzas there are, but it does make me wonder if there are at least 19 forms.
Yeah.
Dull form. There was a distinction between dull form and slave form, correct?
I think so.
So I don't think we got a slave form epigraph yet, but if we do, it will call into question once more the question of what happened to their music and how much the Parshendi actually knew about the Parshmen.
Yeah, I'm thinking like the distinction with dull form and slave form is that dull form is your dull form in the Parshendi community. Okay, it's just dull form. But then if you are working for the humans and that sort of thing, it's the same mental state, and you're working for the humans. You're a slave there, so you're still dull form. The same thing happens that the mind most lost, the mind is gone.
Mm-hmm.
The lowest and one not bright. So it would be the lowest in their society as well. One not bright, it's one that is literally, has no music, so therefore not vibrant, but also dumb. And then the fact that it says to find this form, one need banish the cost. I was thinking that there's no music, there's no spren, actually. So to get this form, you don't have spren. You don't go into the storm and attract a spren or anything like that. You actually just go into the storm, lose your spren or whatever it is, and that's the base form. That's the one it's the one without music. So I'm thinking, it finds you and brings you to blight. So it's maybe that doesn't make sense then. That goes against the idea of going into the storm and not finding a spren, because it finds you. Like, is there a dull form?
Dull form spren?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but brings you to, maybe it finds you. Maybe you it feels like it finds you because you just turn out that way.
Yeah.
And it brings you to blight. You lose something.
Yeah. There's something off about dull form and that last line in particular, but I don't know what to do with it.
And I mean, the start of the thing, dull form dread, it's not even just dull form is lame, it's dread. It's the bad thing to be. It's not just a neutral thing. It's the worst thing. It's the lowest thing. We don't want that. Maybe it's when you go into the storm and you look for a spren and a spren won't accept you, and therefore you become dull form. I just wonder how we are getting any more Parshendi, any more Parshmen. Can dull form breed?
Well, I think in the first book, Kaladin notes that the Parshmen treat their dead with reverence.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the one freedom granted to them. So I think there's something going on there. I would assume then that they can breed. But then again, if they can't do mate form, then maybe not. You're right. Where do they come from?
Yeah, they're not mate forming because then they become they're more conscious, and they have to know how to go out in the storm and be in the right state of mind and become that. So that's not happening. Maybe they treat their dead. Maybe they just the dead recharge in the storm, and then we get more parchment. But that has not been explained to us. Was it just, we just have so many? There's just so many that were captured.
Do they just live forever? What is their age rate like?
Yeah, maybe it's very, very slow because they are dull form. It's like a preservation, a preservation form that just, it's the bare minimum that you can be. So I don't know. The mind most lost. And we have obviously Parshmen in the chapter that we're about to go through.
Yeah. So they're still in a slow-paced chase, and Shalon is trying to soothe her anxiety as best she can with different activities. She's speaking to Bluth about the leaves, the plants, and she thinks she's kind of figured out how they work. They break off and then they scatter and grow new ones or something like that, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Bluth is wearing a silly hat. It's too stylish for him. I imagine it's a fedora, but I don't think it is.
we can just imagine it, though. Just something to note before we go there, though. She's been making a list of the beats that
I was just about to read
Bluth
the
uses.
passage.
Okay, go.
Shalon had made a small list of the beats he used in the back of her book. He's whipping the chul. Bluth hit twice, paused, and hit again. That made the animal slow as the wagon in front of them, driven by Tvlakov, began moving up a hillside covering in tiny rock buds. So she's writing down driving instructions for how to drive the chuls, and there's no way that this isn't going to come back. Like, she's going to steal the chuls and run, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is definitely a setup, yeah.
Yep. Chekhov's driving instructions. But Shalon is still trying to engage Bluth in discussion, and he's just not having it.
Is there a literary happening with these leaves and things? They blow away and start new shoots, building their own shell. So, like, the storm comes, shatters the branches and breaks off the leaves. Then the leaves go and create new things. Like, is there a literary happening there?
I think so, but I wouldn't know how to articulate it other than to say it's life. They grow so quickly, faster than I'd expect out here in infertile lands. It's a life cycle.
Adaptation. So, like, going through a storm actually lands up giving more life. Blah, blah. Yeah, it's life.
Yep.
Na, 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 na. Yeah.
Shalon looks back, but there's no sign of pursuit. And at this point, I kind of wonder, at what point are they going to just run? Like, when do they break out in a run instead of just a fast-paced travel? I know Tvlakov isn't going to want to give up his expensive parshmen and the slaves that he's carrying, etc. But at what point is your life worth more? Especially considering, what was it, this chapter, or was it the last chapter where they were like, yeah, they're making to kill us at the high storm? Yeah.
I don't know. They're going as fast as they can with the chulls at the moment. But you're talking about abandoning the wagons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
guess
he will, and then she takes over.
Yeah. It's possible. Yeah, all of those big tough merchants are gonna run and leave Shalon alone with the merchandise.
Or Bluth will stay because he's got some
redemption to do.
Weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that could be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So she starts drawing. Yeah, Pattern was right. She really couldn't give it up. She tried to draw the Xanthid, but it wasn't as good. But she's glad to have it. Having it in any form started healing the wounds inside. That was a sweet line. She tried to draw Bluth, but she isn't very happy with how it came out. Bit of a caricature, and she thinks the hat is too small for the head. And I think she means that in terms of the actual hat on his head and not in her picture of him, right?
Yeah.
She tries to engage him in conversation about the hat, but again, Bluth has none of it. So then she decides to try and draw the idealized Bluth. Him in proper clothing with a proper weapon. A uniform.
I hope. Yeah.
Yeah, a uniform, a spear planted to his side. A different composition, idealized perhaps, but somehow also right. So she sees potential in Bluth, and I think that's big for Shalon's character, and I think it's big for Bluth's journey. He doesn't give much of a response to the picture when he sees it, but I think that it will be the seed of growth in him.
Yeah, something. This is what you could be. Again, you abandoned everything, but think about who you could be. I am really waiting on this guy to turn into something good, or I'm very interested in him and where this is going because it's being set up so beautifully. So, yeah, I'm excited to learn more about Bluth.
Agreed. It definitely feels like there's a specific relationship here. Or even if they do end up parting ways, I feel like Bluth will come back in some way, in the way that Tvlakov came back into the story in this way.
Yeah.
She has Bluth get her more knobweed as they take a break, and I'm like, I know you need to take a break and not run yourself ragged, but keep going if you can. I really did have trouble imagining in my mind the pace that they were all taking and the mindset of the pace.
It's tense.
It's tense, yeah. I guess we just kind of have to take it for granted that they are going as fast as can reasonably be expected without pushing themselves to the point of harm.
Yeah. But it seems like considering what happens next, is she sees the cook fire or the column of smoke. And then she speaks to Tvlakov, and then she says, oh, they are following us. But then Tvlakov says, yes, they've stopped to eat. So I think maybe that's also why they've stopped, because the others have. So they've noted, okay, cool, they've stopped. They are following us, but so we need to take this chance right now.
Yeah, it does say they expect that the ones chasing them feel reasonably comfortable, judging from the pace. But then I think, well, if they're taking a break, you could be gaining ground on them. Or
yeah, and he just says it that, we don't stop often, but we are literally stopping right now.
So long as we keep moving and don't stop often, they will give up the chase. But I think that's cope. I don't actually trust it, so they should keep moving if they can afford to. So yes, the smoke is ominously in the distance, and they want to keep moving. They're clearly anxious. And Shallan thinks to herself,
distract yourself. Find something to take your mind off the pursuit.
Such a Shallan thing, am I right?
Start looking around. Cool.
But it's fair. What else can you do? She considers drawing the parshman, which I actually don't think would be the worst idea, but she is a bit too nervous to draw at this time. And so she decides to go up and talk to them. And I don't know if we've ever vocalized it before, but I did ask the question, at least to myself, several times. Did Yasna speak to the parshman, to any parshman? And what was that like?
Yeah, we never noted that.
Yeah, but I swear I did think it. Because that would have been interesting information to gain or glean. So she tries talking to them. Their names are 1 and 2. I did wonder if that is what they think of themselves as, or if that's what Tvlakov called them.
Yeah, I think it's whatever people have spoken, have placed on them. They'll give them names. And whatever name is given, they'll take.
Yeah, I think that's the case. Shallan asks if they are happy with their lives and if they would rather be free, which I think are good questions. A part of me wanted her to ask, are you the Voidbringers? Why do you want to kill us? Just weird, random questions. But I didn't expect her
gets a response. Yeah.
She thinks the parshman looks uncomfortable and embarrassed for not understanding. I kind of wondered, or are they scared of Shallan? Or are they scared of understanding? And then I'm kind of wondering if the parshman became parshman voluntarily, more or less in line with what we know of the Parshendi. And is it the Parshendi who refused to go all the way the parshman did? Maybe the parshmen are like, we know we're Voidbringers and we don't want to be, so we're doing this instead. Yeah,
but this might be something to do with the punishment or something of the gods where, that dull form, being in dull form was part of some sort of punishment or some sort of curse or whatever, and they've undertaken that. But I do think mainly that there must be that was the reason that they had to go into dull form or not. I don't think that should be the reason, though. They shouldn't stay in dull form. They can be normal. They just don't go in storm form out there. That's what I think.
I don't know. We
But
don't know.
Maybe dull form is the safest because then they don't seek anything.
I think none of the other forms are trustworthy. War form, nimble form. I think as soon as the Everstorm hits, all bets are off.
Oh, they all become Voidbringers. Okay.
Except for maybe the Parshman. No, it'll probably be a Parshman too. We'll see. I don't know. I don't trust any of it. She reminds herself that they are evil monsters and soon will turn on everyone, and persuading everyone will be incredibly difficult.
Yeah. She's just being confronted with the absolute scale of that. It's even if you explain it, it's like, yeah, but the reality is right in front of them. They need something more than an explanation.
Very much so. Tvlakov walks by, and apparently he's been treating her differently since that night. Good. I think he's suitably cowed.
Yeah. Stay that way.
Sorry, suitably parshmaned. They continue traveling, and there's another column of smoke up ahead. So now they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, it seems. They don't know what's up ahead. It's very big. I think they gather that the smoke ahead of them is larger and therefore likely a bigger party than the one behind. Is that correct?
In the beginning, it's more like it seems about the same.
Okay.
By the end of the chapter, they realize, no, that's something on fire.
Yeah, it's definitely
it's not a cook fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tvlakov and Tag are speaking, and Shalon wants in, so they let her in, which is good. I feel like she deserves to know this. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have kept her out of it, even if I weren't suitably cowed. We get that they are running between the shattered plains and the shallow crypts. So I'm grateful again for that status update with regard to how close she is to getting to the camps. We don't know specifically, but we know that she's basically at the shattered plains now.
Yeah, she's on the way. It's the in between. This corridor ends up in the shattered plains. So if she just continues with it, we're in this direction or whatever, she should technically go to the shattered plains.
Yeah,
it feels like it's still pretty far away though.
That's interesting because I had like a small bit of hope that she would get there sooner rather than later, but I think your take is the correct one. It'll be a while.
Yeah. There's still a lot of wilderness, it feels like.
Yeah.
Because there's no policing going on there and all of that.
Yeah. Okay, here's the line that had me wonder about whether or not they thought it was a large group. Tvlakov says, "We can avoid them. Only a large group would dare make smoke for midday meals, as it's an invitation or a warning. The small caravans like ourselves do not risk it." So it's Tvlakov trying to gauge the danger level and is like, well, if they have a fire, they must be pretty secure and confident. Therefore, and obviously by the end of the chapter, we know why that's not the case, but that's what I had in mind when I made my earlier comment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we get to the comment about the group that's chasing them, intending to kill them. There's going to be a high storm that very night, most likely. And Shalon gathers that the group that's chasing them intends to kill them and use the wagons for protection against the high storm. Which almost suggests to me that the bandits don't have a way to protect against the high storm themselves, which seems a bit dangerous on their end.
Yeah, I was thinking like, okay, so what, they're wandering around without protection? I don't know. That's an assumption. It's reasonable to think, yes, they're going to kill you, and this is how they would benefit from it.
Yep.
But I don't know if they have absolutely no shelter.
Yeah.
That would be stupid. Like, well, then what are they doing?
I understand wanting to heighten the sense of danger and making it about survival for them. But I think practically speaking, it doesn't quite work out. I feel like dangerous mercenaries wouldn't be caught out in a high storm so easily. Yeah. I guess you could say it speaks to their confidence in their ability to get to these merchants and kill them. But it just does not seem like good, solid practice. And what if they had never found the merchants in the first place? What would they do?
Yeah.
Unless they were following them from their last destination. It's all a bit weird.
Either way, they're bandits, and we can expect that they want to take our stuff and kill us.
Yeah.
That's the safest bet. And yes, during a high storm, you will be vulnerable, but then again, they will be vulnerable. So,
Yeah.
are the Parshmen gonna transform in the high storm?
Ooh. Maybe. I don't think so, but maybe.
I just thought about that, like the possibility. It would be very interesting, and that would be the proof. It's the first the first Voidbringer.
Yes. Oh
happens
no.
there. It's not the friend's sister or anything like that.
They consider a feint and trying to put the two different smoke groups on a path with each other, but Shalon thinks that the bandits are probably cowards or disillusioned men who don't feel they have any other choice, and they would be unlikely to go for a group larger than themselves, which is what they think the other group is. Possibly.
Yeah. So they would follow the wagon trail, essentially.
Yeah. Shalon determinedly states that they should go for the second column of smoke. Okay. It's a plan. What would you do, Kitty, in this situation?
I would just keep going and hope for the best. Keep going in the direction I was going in, yeah.
I mean, unless you feel
and hope
like
the storm kills people, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, unless you feel like you can camouflage yourselves really, really well, which, maybe Shalon could do if she knew how to use her powers, I feel like giving the bigger group the opportunity to be their rescuers is the best way to frame things.
Yeah, but again, we wouldn't assume that they're rescuers.
No, but similar to what Shalon did with Tavlakov, like...
it's my only hope kind of thing. We just go for it.
Yeah. They start traveling again. She tries to draw Yulb, but it doesn't have that same spark in the eyes, and she thinks it's because she's sad about what happened.
Yeah, it's like what happened to him. It's like we didn't see him die, but we know, like, bro's gone.
Yeah, that we know of. No body, no death. We get the passage. As she's working on a random sketch, her pencil moved into a depiction of an elegant woman in a stately gown, loose but sleek below the waist, tight across the chest and stomach, long open sleeves, one hiding the safe hand, the other cut at the elbow, exposing the forearm and draping down below. A bold, poised woman, in control. Still drawing unconsciously, Shalon added her own face to the elegant woman's head. And she has a moment of, is that really me? She starts another drawing, a woman in a ball gown at court, tall and strong and belonging there, and then she adds her face to it. And she does a bunch of these. So there's some actualization going on here, I think.
Well, I think it's actualization in that she can be this woman. So she's achieved a certain level. But then also visualization, literal visualization of, okay, this is what I am going to do. Yes. I can do this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's following through on her revelation from the last chapter that she had. I want to look for literary in her drawings. I wonder if there's almost anything prophetic in them, in the ones of Yulb and Bluth and the Xanthid. I'm not sure, but these will be important pictures.
Yeah, there's been talk of how things just they weren't exactly right, like the Yulb picture's not exactly right. She does have limited tools, so there's that. It's not that when she takes a memory and she sketches it out, it's gone again. It's gone, she can't do it again. It's just that she has to be in the right mindset to get it out properly. And this thing of her drawing, it was how she connected to the spren, essentially, the symbol heads and things like that. So we know that this is significant, but then also when her drawings are right and fit, it's very significant. So same thing with Bluth. The picture, the idealized version fit better and was right, which means, yes, he's got something more to him. And here, again, she's drawing over and over and it's just naturally coming. This is significant. This is the natural way of things, and she needs to remember these images. They will be coming back.
Yes, art can inspire.
Mm-hmm.
She draws a picture of Yasna that night on the boat, and she calls it Yasna's Burden. She doesn't actually call it that, but she thinks that phrase. And I think that's a great title for that picture.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, I also was like that. That's what I would call the picture itself. Yeah.
Yep. They stop the wagon so she can get back into her carriage.
Such as it is, you know.
Such as it is. She opens up the trunk and she starts speaking with pattern. She puts on some knobweed and we learn that she's been accentuating her sensitive feet to try and trick Tavlakov into thinking she's more dependent than she actually is, which is for the best, I think.
Yeah.
She asks if Pattern is the one that healed him, and he says he doesn't know why people break and less about why they unbreak. So this whole conversation with Pattern, I really like Pattern. I like the way he speaks. There's a lot of humor in there.
Yeah. I love the playing with words. Like, okay, I don't know why you break. I don't know why you unbreak. Like, he doesn't have the words to talk about these things, so he just makes them. So
yeah.
cool.
Shalon asks,
"Your kind don't get wounded?"
"We break. We just do it differently than men do. And we do not unbreak without aid. I do not know why you unbreak. Why?" There's a big thing there. I have not wanted to spoil Kitty.
Mm-hmm.
I have things I want to say, so I feel like I should just come out and say it to you, Kitty. At this point, one of the things that was explicitly spelled out for me was that the Almighty is honor.
Okay, so Honor died. Okay.
Yeah, it actually is really clever of Sanderson. The chapter title was Honor is Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And that paired with Yasna's comment about cultivation and honor earlier in this very book, yeah, it's kind of figure-outable, yeah?
Yeah, and then you see it in Syl's view of the world where it's that there's no right men anymore. So if honor has died, then there can't be honorable men. And yeah, she's kind of, who is the Almighty to her? Probably honor itself, the big spren honor. And it died. And yeah. She's a small bit of the big honor spren.
Yeah. So the reason I wanted to just have that out with is so that we could have this discussion now about we do not unbreak without aid. Mm-hmm. This seems to me to open the possibility that honor can be remade. Redemption.
Yay. Yeah, that does make sense. If on a small scale, so if we just think of these spren as smaller spren of a huge entity, right? Because remember, we already had that idea of them being small slivers of something. She then brings it up later on. She has a term for it. I won't bring it up now because we haven't gotten to it yet. But yeah, we've got the idea of them being slivers and whatever. If they can be healed with aid, then you would think just with a massive aid, you could heal
honor.
The big honor,
one.
the big almighty guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and there is, of course, the possibility it's a preservation situation where it's just that honor lost consciousness, which I suspect might not actually be the case. But basically, if enough people become avatars of honor, display honor, rebuild the ideal that died with the Knights Radiant, then I think that would essentially heal honor. Mm-hmm. And in so doing, weaken odium.
Yeah.
So there you go. Almighty, honor, and I guess Stormfather is the third name for him as well. Shalon explains healing, and Pattern says he wants to know why things work.
Which I love then.
Yeah.
Just the way he phrases it. I would like to know why things work. It's just, yeah. That's it. That's what being a scholar is about. That's what being curious is about. I don't know why. I just love the way that was phrased.
Yep, it's great. And I will also say the audiobook for this conversation was really entertaining as well.
Mm-hmm.
The performance really had a certain unabashed earnestness and excitement to it, to Patterns revealing that he's a scholar and he's super happy about it and excited and really well done.
Yeah, really well done.
Shalon starts asking about what made her glow, and she's trying to figure out the torn clothing thing. She seems to have gathered that it has to do with light weaving, which is good. It's smart.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to get into it, but I'll say it now. We get the whole process of Shalon figuring out that she has to take in Stormlight, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's a part of me that wants to say it's repetitive in the sense that we've already had Kaladin go through that process, and the skeptic in me, it's not where I ultimately live, but the skeptic in me is like, do we really want to spend valuable time, economy of words going through this process again? But one, this whole chapter feels very rushed, not in terms of the writing in a bad way, but in terms of they're being chased and she's frantic. So it feels rushed in that way. It's well done. So we really aren't spending too much time on it here, but there's also an enjoyable element of it that is seeing how Shalon approaches all of this in contrast to Kaladin that I find to be really nice.
Yeah, and I think it happens quick enough. It's not wasted time. It's
agree.
it's like, and it's fun knowing what the answer is when a character doesn't, and you are like, okay, what will she do next? What will she do next? And we don't want her immediately knowing. And yes, she did conveniently go, oh no, wait, it was like drinking it. Okay, cool. So it was good.
Yeah.
You want her to at least fail reasonably.
Yeah. They lament the loss of the Words of Radiance and the Book of Endless Pages. And she considers the loss of Words of Radiance to be a greater loss than the Book of Endless Pages, which I don't think is the correct take. But it does go on to say she didn't understand the full significance of that yet, that the book was blank. So she still has a bit of growth there to do, I think. In either case, both are tremendous losses.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Shalon hopes she'll find another copy at the Shattered Plains, though she thinks that
very
unlikely.
Doubtful.
Yeah, very doubtful.
Mm-hmm. Especially because even not only are books rare there, but then the book that she's looking for is not something anyone would be interested in keeping. It's a very specific book. It's kind of almost heresy. Heretics would have those books. So, yeah, I don't know if she'll ever find one.
Yeah, I agree. But it seems a big thing that Sanderson is doing in this book is everyone rediscovering these things for themselves. Which can be a powerful message, I think.
Yeah.
Self-discovery rather than mentorship. You know, you don't necessarily want it or need it to be one or the other, but there is a certain awe-inspiring element to someone who can come to these determinations on their own.
Yeah, it's pioneering and it's dangerous, but the stakes are high enough.
Yeah. So she starts talking through the Knights Radiant stuff, and she realizes that the Spren and the Knights Radiant formed a bond, and it was symbiotic. She says it's like Kremlings and shale bark. And Pattern is like, am I the shale bark or the Kremling? And Shalon's like, it doesn't matter. Details.
He's like, no, he's just very interested in it. So it's like, no, but okay, yeah, we need to be specific. He's very literal.
Yeah.
The surges, the forces that run the world, are more pliable to Spren. Or, well, since Spren are pieces of those surges, maybe it's that the Spren are better at influencing one another. Our bond gives me the ability to manipulate one of the surges. In this case, light, the power of illumination. Capital I, illumination there. Oh, sorry, we continue.
Lies and truths.
Which then is like what her knowledge there is lies and truth. So it's his comment there is pretty significant.
Yes.
Because he says lies and truth. So it's like, so you're almost right, is what I kind of get there.
That's kind of what I got as well.
Mm. Mm.
You're close, but not quite there. And
it's a matter of phrasing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the Spren are pieces of surges per se, but the Spren are, as Syl explained, pieces of others.
Gods.
Other bigger
pieces
Spren.
of big. Yeah.
The big ones.
Mm. And the way she's talking about surges is that the power of illumination. So illumination is a surge, and she can bind the surge. But honor isn't a surge. You know, if I'm that's what I'm thinking. Like you aren't, when Kaladin is surge binding, he's not using honor. He has an honor spren that made the connection, but he's not channeling honor. It doesn't feel like it. Maybe he is, but according to this, if he's using a surge and the spren is a piece of the surge, then yes, he's using honor. It's a little bit off.
Yeah.
Like there must be a difference between like the surges, like illumination, whatever the others are called. But yeah, there must be a difference between surges and major spren.
Right. So Shallan tries to figure out how to take in the light. She asks,
so how do I make it work?
Perhaps eat it?
That just made me think of Allomancy and all of that.
Oh, yeah. Good connection.
Eat it? I didn't need to eat it before to get the Stormlight, which is, yes, a good observation. Like, yeah, but no. Why would we need to do that?
Well, that's sort of the thing, is like Pattern has this weird way of saying words that don't quite mean the words he thinks it means. So could it be that Pattern literally means just drink it in, consume it? Yeah.
Yeah. But also that makes me think, like, could you swallow spheres that are infused, keep them in your stomach, and then take in the Stormlight whenever you need it, kind of a la Allomancy.
Do it.
But I guess a pocket's easier.
Yeah, probably. And then Pattern's response is very funny. Might work, though. Try.
And here was a line that confused me. She says, I doubt I could swallow an entire sphere, even if I wanted to, which I distinctly do not. It's like, how big are these things? Like, I'm thinking marbles, man.
Yeah, I guess they're a bit bigger than marbles. I don't know. I don't think they're the size of a baseball. Mm-hmm. I think they are bigger than marbles.
Mm-hmm. Isn't there? What are the different types of marbles? There's the big ones, those bigger ones. Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't think. What are they called? Gooners.
Gooners.
That's got a new name and a new meaning today. But yeah, apparently gooners.
Okay, interesting.
So those are the big ones. So yeah, I don't think I would want to swallow one. Like, you could, but it would not be comfortable.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. And it wouldn't be comfortable all the way through.
Yep. This is not one of the things humans like to eat, then?
Storms, no. Haven't you been paying attention?
I have, but it is difficult to tell. You consume some things and turn them into other things. Very curious things that you hide. They have value, but you leave them. Why?
This is beautiful. Honestly, it's what he's talking about is poop, right? Like leavings and things. And it's just like, you hide them. They're valuable, but then you leave them. Like, it doesn't, why are you hiding them if they're not valuable?
Right. And I was really hoping Shallan would explain it to him. I wanted that.
Yeah. But it seems like they've had this conversation before or something. Or they've hinted at it, or he's asked about it, and she's just like, we're done with that conversation.
Yeah. Doesn't want to explain poop.
Just listen. It just makes me think of those jokes that people make where it's like, imagine what your cat thinks of you cleaning their litter. Like, why are you taking my poop? Why do you put it places? You always collect it. Like, okay, what are you doing with it?
Yeah. So then she drinks in the stormlight. So yay, she figured it out. Good for her.
Yeah.
She tries to will the light into an illusion, and she cannot make that work. She considers practicing soul casting again, but decides not to. Although she does note that Yasna's not there to teach her, so she kind of has to figure it out one way or another.
Yeah, it's true. She can't. I mean, same thing with Calcia, with Kaladin. He doesn't have anyone to teach him. He doesn't have Shen. Doesn't have Zeth or anything like that. He's just figuring it out. And so she's going to have to do it. But yeah, hers seems quite a lot more dangerous because she goes to a whole other realm.
Yeah. Soul casting definitely seems dangerous. Risky. She realizes that taking in Stormlight heals her, and she uses the phrase almost an accident, to which Pattern says, it's a weird phrase. What does it mean? I don't know what it means. And she explains it's meant to convey an idea or a feeling, not a literal fact. Pattern buzzes. Shalon asks why.
Because he's excited.
Right? And he says, excited. Yes, it has been so long since anyone has learned of you and your kind.
You came to learn? Wait, you're a scholar?
Of course. Why else would I come? I will learn so much before. It's cute to see Pattern get so excited, and I love that they're both scholars.
Yeah, it helps that they're both nerds. They're not going to be frustrated with each other trying to figure things out. They both really want to figure things out.
Yes.
Nerds.
Nerds. And Shalon pries, but Pattern doesn't want to finish his sentence.
Yeah, and he uses his newly found figure of speech idea on her.
Yeah. It's a very cute exchange.
And she's like, you're lying.
Yes.
You're a terrible liar, which is funny considering he's supposed to be a lies brain.
Right? She pries it out of him. He does make the comment, you sound like her, more and more like her. Is that about Yasna?
Yeah, I think it's about Yasna.
I think it is as well. Like, a part of me...
Or her mom? I don't know.
A part of me imagined it was about some other spren that he knew or knows, but I think it's about Shalon being forceful in the way that Yasna was.
Yeah, and he's been watching her with Yasna, so it makes sense that he would know.
Yes. Eventually he says, I will learn what I can of you before you kill me.
You think I'm going to kill you?
It happened to the others. It'll happen to me. It is a pattern. This is when I'm sort of like, okay, so the fall of the Radiance resulted in the deaths of the Spren. Their fall from grace, them giving up on their oaths, caused the death of Spren, is what we are meant to take from this, I think.
Yeah, when you break that bond, that oath that bonded them, then they die. They get sent back or they die.
Yeah.
Well, they cease to exist, I think, yeah.
Pattern also says it's a pattern. So again, there's this idea on my end that no one's perfect. Everyone's going to fail at some point or another to uphold the values that they purport to believe in. And it's whether or not you can come back. And it's a cycle.
But it seems like we then have a discussion of their oaths. So like it's abandoning an oath completely. What constitutes abandoning that oath? Is it acting wrong, or is it literally, I renounce my oath, or something like that, you know?
Right.
That we need to know whether, again, like you said, through, like, say, Kaladin doing something wrong or something like that. There needs to be something, an example of, is it as easy as just doing something wrong once, or is it a conscious, decided thing to abandon an oath, to renounce, to unbond?
Right. And I guess sort of that's one of the elements I haven't really brought up in this whole thing is, does taking an oath change the equation at all? Like, once you do that, are you essentially locked in until the end of eternity? Is it fair to expect someone to be locked in until all of eternity? And the reason I say all of eternity is because, well, the heralds apparently were, if not the Radiance. So,
Well, let's talk about the value of that oath, though. If eternity, an oath should be the reason an oath is valuable is that it's the maximum, it's the ultimate. It should be. It shouldn't matter whether it's for eternity or not. Maybe
right.
it would change whether you take the oath or not. Yes, but
Sure.
it's yeah. And then just thinking about it, the reason an oath even has power is because of honor. Because an oath is a promise. It's I am telling you that I'm going to be a certain way and do a certain thing. And yes, people say on this, on that, but it is your honor that you put on the line.
Yeah.
Your honor is put on the line because you have said, I'm being honest, I am going to do this, you've committed to it, and breaking an oath then kills honor. Duh. Makes sense now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, all my question still comes down to what constitutes breaking this oath. And it's the life before death, all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How do you renounce that? Well, what happens? And then we also have the heralds breaking their oath to, I don't know, continue fighting for eternity.
Right. Because I think part of Kaladin's breakthrough in the last book was, I will defend those who cannot defend themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Adolin and the prostitute in the first book. If Kaladin just walked by, saw that prostitute getting beaten, and Adolin wasn't there, and he just went on his day, is that him breaking his oath? And there are like little breaks, and then there are big breaks, right? And frequently the little breaks lead into the big breaks. But also, people do change. And I think there's, and yes, like when you take an oath, even in the ways in which you change, you still, in theory, would be beholden to the oath. But sometimes people have different ideas about how to approach certain things. And we saw the heralds break. What I'm trying to get at is, I think you need new blood to cycle into the actual fighting. Where is the retirement? There should be a retirement. You don't want to go to such an extreme that you cannot ever truly hope to live up to such an ideal. I don't know.
There's no end game. It's just consistent, because there's still the factor of some kind of humanity or character in the heralds. They're not just endless forces. They are consciousnesses with memories.
Right.
And that takes a toll. Yeah.
But then there's that idea of Valhalla, which is sort of in this book as well. I forget the term, the crystalline halls, whatever it is in this book. And this idea of, if you fight well in this life, in the afterlife, you will be able to fight forever. And it's a good thing. Where was I going with that?
There's no rest in that.
Yeah. I don't know. Life is difficult.
Life is difficult and complex. And
Yes.
it's very fascinating, as Patton would say.
Yeah. And what happens when different oaths contradict each other? What happens when filial piety comes into conflict with religious piety, comes into conflict with monarchical allegiance? When your king says one thing, your god says another, your father says a third thing. What do you do?
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit too complex to just be like, this is the honorable thing. Like, depending on this person's point of view, that might be dishonorable. It's very complex, but we will have to see what it actually entails through this epic journey.
Yeah.
But let's go through the way the Patton phrases this stuff, because she says yes. Oh, well, the Patton says the knights killed their spren, and then she asks how and why.
Their oaths. It is all I know. My kind, those who were unbonded, we retreated and many kept our minds. Even still, it is hard to think apart from my kind unless we have a person.
So that's what you get out of it. Symbiosis. I get access to surge binding, you get thought.
Sapience, thought, life. These are of humans. We are ideas. Ideas that wish to live. That idea has been repeated a couple times now. That they are ideas that want to live, wish to live.
And we had from Syl that I go dumb again when I'm not connected to you.
Yep.
So it seems like, look, the knights killed their spren. Okay, which means...
Did they kill them or did they die as a result is my question.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, is it there was an unbonding and that killed them? But then there's this idea that those who were unbonded, we retreated. So does that mean they went back to Shadesmar?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
And many kept our minds. So they previously were bonded to someone. They went back to Shadesmar and they kept their minds there. But then when they try and talk here, it is hard to think apart from my kind. Yes. So they have to be in Shadesmar to think properly, but then to have access to the outside world.
Yeah, and I think they have to be clustered together in order to keep their minds as well.
Yeah.
It is hard to think apart from my kind. I mean, I guess that could just mean that because he came back into the world, but I felt like...
Yeah, because in the cognitive realm, they should be able to exist. They seem to be fully formed.
Yeah.
But then again, when they're in the cognitive realm, could she ask him questions and he would know the answers there? I don't know.
Yeah. Shallan insists she's not going to kill him, and Pattern says he doesn't suppose the others intended to either, but it doesn't matter. So that's a particularly jaded thought from Pattern,
but I think it's the truth. Like you said, You said that, was it a result? Did they want to do it? Did they do it, or was it a result? Seems like it was a result. It had to happen, or like we still have this huge mystery of why did the Radiants abandon their oaths? Was it because the heralds did so? What's the connection there?
Yeah. I feel like whatever reason the Radiants abandoned their oaths, it mirrors sort of the way the heralds abandoned theirs. I mean, we know the heralds became disillusioned. They don't like going back to pain and torture for eternity in between cycles. We have imagined that the Radiants found out that the Almighty died, and so they didn't feel like they could continue.
Or did they kill the Almighty by dishonoring that huge collection of them?
What if the Knights Radiants were tricked into killing the Almighty?
Well, maybe they killed him by abandoning their oaths in the first place.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking as well. It's tough. It's
complex stuff.
Yeah. Shallan insists she's not going to kill Pattern. She's not one of the Knights Radiant. Pattern says, "You spoke oaths." And we get the thought, life before death. So what are the circumstances in which she spoke that oath? We have estimates, guesses regarding the flashbacks. I don't know.
It seems like the flashback is where that would be.
Yeah. So I wonder what put life before death in her mind. Like, how she found those words and why, especially in such an event in which it seems to have involved the death of her mother.
And she was younger. She was very young. So it's not like she was... Well, maybe she was still scholarly. But yeah, that's just a new hint of, she did say the oaths, and then it's just emphasizing to the reader, oh crap, we still have to go back to that. And then we start confronting this, that she's avoiding that memory, and that is part of the lies and the truth thing that Patton brings up. You live lies, he says.
Yeah, and with regard to the oath conversation that we were talking about before, the words life before death, journey before destination, those strike me more in the philosophical realm rather than the oathy realm. Like, you can determine to live life by a certain philosophy. Live life to the fullest. Enjoy it. And that seems even more elusive in terms of how do you break that philosophy? How do you abandon
how do you apply that?
Yeah.
Well, I chose death instead of life. I chose the destination. I put the destination before the journey. I valued the destination more than the journey. But then abandoning, you could argue, because it's so philosophical and wishy-washy, you could argue that the heralds abandoned, I know that they're on different oaths, but say the heralds abandoned their oaths for life. They didn't want to go back to death. They didn't want to go back to suffering, so they chose life. And I suppose Radiant, the Knights Radiant, they're choosing to live by abandoning a fight. Because it's like, I don't want to fight because I know I'll die.
Right.
Yeah, it's so wishy-washy. What you're saying is it's very vague.
Yeah.
But we would have to get, philosophical at every choke point, every question in this story and go, okay, does this go along with the oaths?
Right. And not to mention, there's a cyclical nature to all of this, I think.
Mm-hmm.
There are times when certain ideas are emphasized in culture and others are repressed, and then that shifts and changes over time because human lifespan and memory and experience tends to be finite.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know.
So much to think about.
Yep. Anyway, she thinks life before death. The words drifted toward her from the shadows of her past, a past she would not think of. You live lies. It gives you strength, but the truth. Without speaking truths, you will not be able to grow, Shalon. I know this somehow. So she's going to have to face the truth.
We agree. Mm-hmm.
And we agree.
Her actualization will come with it. We've been saying so for a long time.
Yep. She heads on out of the wagon. She doesn't have much stormlight left in her spheres, but she takes what she can, hoping that if she needs to use it, it'll be enough. They get closer to the fire and something big is burning, probably wagons. Whoever is up there, it doesn't look like things went well for them. So it looks like a wagon caravan group thing basically caught fire. Maybe they were the victims of a raid. Spontaneous combustion.
Mm-hmm. Just a crazy man having a crazy bonfire.
Yeah, or maybe a rogue surge binder.
Mm-hmm.
Could be anything. I wonder if there are any survivors.
I hope that the guys chasing them are actually old friends of Bluth. But then again, old friends of Bluth wouldn't be friendly.
Yeah. Maybe they'll exacerbate the destruction so that when the raiders show up, they could be like, we did this to them. We can do it to you too. Leave.
Yeah, and Shalon does some light bending stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Light weaving to make it look like she did it. I don't know. We're just playing. Now we're tired. Let's go.
Yeah. No, thus ends the chapter. Good chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else to say, Kitty?
Like the video.
If you like. I think Shalon likes Bluth, don't you, Kitty?
I think she does.
And just like we think Shalon likes Bluth, we think you should hit the like button.
Do it!
Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Subscribe to that darn Kitta if you get a chance, because she's got a great channel.
And subscribe to this channel, because you know it's great.
It would be greatly appreciated. And we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks, bye.
Okay, thanks, bye.